Good morning, Remnant. Since the weather kept us from gathering in person today, I want to give you something simple but weighty, something you can sit with rather than scroll past. Just one passage of scripture, but one that, if taken to heart, if taken seriously, rearranges the entire Christian life. Paul writes in 1 Corinthians, "You are not your own, for you were bought with a price." That sentence is not poetic, and it is definitely not therapeutic. That is what we call legal language. It does not describe a feeling or an aspiration. It states a fact. Christianity does not begin with self-improvement or with spiritual curiosity. It begins with a loss of ownership. To belong to Christ is to no longer belong to yourself or anyone else. Most of us live as though Christ has influence in our lives, but not authority in our lives. We invite him into our decision making, but reserve the final say to ourselves. We ask him to bless our plans that we have already made, but grace does not negotiate with self-rule. Grace ends self-rule. When scripture says we were bought, it means that a transaction literally took place. A real cost was paid. A high cost was paid. And what is purchased no longer governs itself. Redemption is not God helping you become a better version of you. Redemption is God reclaiming what belongs to him. That means your time is not ultimately yours. Your body is not yours. Your future is not yours. Even your sense of self is no longer the highest authority in your life. Christ does not merely save you from something. He claims you for something. And that claim is total. This is why obedience feels so difficult for many believers out there today. Resistance rarely shows up as open rebellion anymore. It sounds far more reasonable than that today. It says things like, I just need a little more clarity, or I need more time, or I need to process this a little longer. But scripture consistently reveals that delay is often just fear wearing religious language. If obedience required no surrender, it would not unsettle us, would it? But obedience always threatens the part of us that still wants to control everything. The real question beneath most of our spiritual hesitation is not whether God has spoken clearly, but whether we are willing to listen and yield. The Christian life is not governed by what feels right or what seems manageable or what even fits comfortably into our plans. The question that shapes discipleship is far simpler and far more costly. What does obedience require now? Surrender, then, is not an emotional moment down at the altar, and it is not a mood or spiritual high. It is a jurisdictional decision. It is the deliberate relinquishing of the right to decide the terms of the agreement. And it is made again and again, often quietly, often without applause. So I want to leave you today not with a prayer, but with a truth that demands a response. You were bought with a price. You belong to Jesus Christ. And because of that, whether it feels heavy or freeing, comforting or confronting, the reality remains the same. You are not your own. Christ is King. Hail to the King.